The Girl from Random Chatting. Written by Park Yoon-hyuk. Chapter 1. The Invisible Boy. Joonwoo Choi was the kind of boy you wouldn't notice. He wasn't loud, he wasn't confident, and he certainly wasn't popular. In fact, if you asked anyone in his class about him, they might struggle to even remember his name. Joonwoo was invisible, and he had learned to live with it. Every day, he walked the same path to school, sat in the same seat at the back of the classroom, and avoided eye contact with everyone around him. He wasn't just shy. He was terrified of standing out. Because standing out meant being noticed, and being noticed meant being targeted. And Joonwoo had been targeted enough in his life to know that it was better to stay in the shadows. But Joonwoo had a secret. When the world became too much, when the loneliness and the bullying felt unbearable, he would retreat to his room, pull out his phone, and open an app, a random chatting app. Here, in the anonymity of the digital world, he could be anyone. He could talk to strangers without fear of judgment, without the weight of his real-life struggles. It was his escape, his sanctuary. And then, one night, everything changed. Chapter 2. A Random Encounter. It was a night like any other. Joonwoo sat on his bed, scrolling through the random chatting app, expecting the usual meaningless conversations. Most of the time, the chats were short and forgettable. People came and went, exchanging a few words before moving on. But this time, something was different. He was matched with someone named Seungah. At first, it seemed like just another random encounter. But as they talked, Joonwoo found himself drawn to her. She was funny, sharp, and easy to talk to. For the first time in a long time, Joonwoo felt a spark of connection. What he didn't know, what he couldn't have imagined, was that Seungah wasn't just any stranger. She was a girl from his school. Not just any girl either. Seungah Yoon was popular, outgoing, and everything Joonwoo wasn't. She was the kind of person who seemed to have it all together. But, as Joonwoo would soon learn, appearances can be deceiving. Chapter 3. The Girl Behind the Screen. Seungah Yoon was the kind of girl everyone noticed. She was beautiful, confident, and always surrounded by friends. But behind her perfect exterior, Seungah had her own struggles. She used the random chatting app as a way to escape the pressures of her life. It was a place where she could be herself, without the expectations and judgments of the people around her. When she was matched with Joonwoo, she didn't think much of it at first. He seemed nice enough, but she had no idea who he really was. To her, he was just another stranger. But as they talked, she began to feel a connection. There was something about him, something genuine and kind, that drew her in. And then, one day, she discovered the truth. The boy she had been chatting with wasn't just a stranger. He was Joonwoo Choi, the quiet, awkward boy from her class. At first, she didn't know how to react. She was shocked, embarrassed, and maybe even a little angry. How could the boy she had been so open with be someone she saw every day? But as the days went on, Seungah began to see Joonwoo in a new light. He wasn't just the shy boy in the corner. He was kind, thoughtful, and surprisingly funny. Slowly, a friendship began to form. And for Joonwoo, it was the beginning of something he never thought he could have. A real connection. Chapter 4. The Shadows of High School. High school is never easy, and for Joonwoo, it was a battlefield. Bullies targeted him relentlessly, mocking him for his quiet nature and his lack of confidence. Every day felt like a struggle to survive. But now, with Seungah by his side, things started to change. Seungah wasn't just a friend. She was a source of strength. She encouraged Joonwoo to stand up for himself, to fight back against the people who tried to tear him down. And slowly, he began to change. He started to find his voice, to push back against the bullies, and to believe that he deserved better. But it wasn't just Joonwoo who was changing. Seungah, too, was learning from their friendship. She began to see the cracks in her own life, the pressures of being perfect, the weight of other people's expectations. Together, they helped each other grow. Chapter 5. The Complications of Love. As Joonwoo and Seungah grew closer, their relationship became more complicated. Joonwoo couldn't help but develop feelings for her. She was everything he had ever dreamed of. Kind, beautiful, and understanding. But he knew that someone like her could never feel the same way about someone like him. Or could she? Seungah, on the other hand, was torn. She cared about Joonwoo, but she wasn't sure if it was the kind of love he wanted. And then there were the other people in their lives. Rira Seo, a mysterious girl with her own interest in Joonwoo, and the ever-present drama of high school relationships. Jealousy, misunderstandings, and unspoken feelings threatened to tear them apart. But through it all, Joonwoo and Seungah kept coming back to each other. Because no matter how messy things got, they knew that their connection was real. Chapter 6. Facing the Past. As their relationship deepened, Joonwoo and Seungah were forced to confront the ghosts of their pasts. For Joonwoo, it was the years of bullying and rejection that had shaped him into the person he was. For Seungah, it was the pressure to be perfect, to always smile, to always be what others expected her to be. Together, they faced their fears. Joonwoo learned to stand tall, to believe in himself, and to fight for the things that mattered. Seungah learned to let go of her need to please everyone and to embrace the person she truly was. And in the process, they found strength in each other. Chapter 7. The Climax. The story reached its peak with a series of dramatic confrontations. Joonwoo stood up to his bullies, proving once and for all that he was no longer the scared, quiet boy they had once tormented. Seungah faced her own challenges, standing up to the people who tried to control her and reclaiming her independence. But the biggest challenge of all was their relationship. Could they overcome the obstacles in their way? Could they be honest about their feelings? And most importantly, could they find a way to be together in a world that seemed determined to keep them apart? Chapter 8. The Resolution. In the end, Joonwoo and Seungah found their answers, not in grand gestures or dramatic declarations, but in the quiet moments of understanding and support. They learned that love isn't about perfection or fairy tale endings. It's about being there for each other, through the good times and the bad. Joonwoo emerged from his journey as a stronger, more confident person. He wasn't just the boy from random chatting anymore. He was someone who had faced his fears, found his voice, and discovered his worth. And Seungah? She found a friend, a partner, and a love that was real.